Ooh, the Sci-Fi Society crew.
We are the Sci-Fi Society.
DJ Anubis. Here with the Meltdown Radio podcast with my special guest, Sci-Fi Century, our fearless leader and founder of the Sci-Fi Society.
That whole story, like, that's pay-per-view, guys. Like, you don't get a lot of that stuff.
All right, one day.
How's it going, everyone? We are now live, and I would like to welcome everyone who is watching to the Sci-Fi Society Retrospective stream number 1. And of course, joining me, my crew, some of the fam, Anthony Jordan from Anthony Jordan Movies and More, and the Metal Tavern Messiah, DJ Anubis. So thank you guys for joining me on this kind of a first of its kind for my channel. And of course, we are the Sci-Fi Society, but I'm branching out into video gaming. We're going to start hopefully doing martial arts. Going to get back to martial arts with the Consensus Crew live stream. But this series, Castlevania, it's been so long I've been wanting to talk about this video game series, and it goes all the way back to the 80s. And the first game, I'm just going to get to it. The first game, what a horrible night to have a curse. If anybody who does not understand that is not a true Castlevania fan. So now, taking it back to 1986, the video game that came out was, of course, Castlevania, but in Japanese, it is called Akumaju Dracula. And it came out for the Famicom in Japan. And if anybody doesn't know what the Famicom is, that's the other word for Nintendo. Here in the States, Nintendo. Over there, it's called the Famicom. And the history is wide. And we have to give it credit where credit is due, and that's with the developers and the creator himself, Hitoshi Akamatsu. And him and his team at that time, we're not going to dissect the whole thing, but I just want to get to mostly the games that really set a standard for me and everyone here. And I know Anubis and Anthony Jordan didn't go way back as I did, but they're also gamers. So and go ahead.
I did.
Yeah. Okay. See. Well, there you go. And but yeah, the game series is so wide, man. Like Castlevania, Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest, Castlevania 3, Dracula's Curse, Castlevania 4, and we cannot forget the Game Boy games for the handhelds at the time came out in the late 80s and early 90s. But I'm just going to go down with a list just to trip everybody out, people who are new to Castlevania or anybody who watches this on in its replay value. I'm going to start with Castlevania, aka Vampire Killer, in other parts of the country was in 1986, 1987. It was Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest, 1988, The Haunted Castle. That was an arcade that they had released, that Konami had released. And Konami, man, they're still doing it to this day. And then there's the Castlevania The Adventure. That one was for the handheld Game Boy for Nintendo. And then there was Castlevania, my favorite, Castlevania 3, Dracula's Curse. I love that game. I could play it forever. But fucking Dracula is fucking hard at the end. And I don't know if it was Anthony or Nubis, but I was struggling, man. And I think I replayed that like 8-9 times and still couldn't beat him.
I told you Sypha's one ability makes him a lot easier.
Yeah, and a lot of people said that they have a cheat that on a password. There's a password cheat on that game. It's called Help Me, and it makes it a little easier, and it gives you like 10 lives and a bunch of hearts. And yeah, and I had yet to try it because if you guys saw me do that playthrough, I played all of that without the code. Okay, I played all that bitch without the fucking code, and it was rough. But I mean, I want. Go ahead.
And not to jump the gun on the releases, but when they updated the Castlevania Classic Collection to have the Japanese version, and you find out how much easier the Japanese version of 3 is.
Yeah, well, you know me, man. I like to do everything the hard way, man. And I know it plays against me sometimes, but you know, at least I'm not young. When I was like, say, in my youth, when like maybe 11 or 12, when I would get mad and I would lose, I would throw my controller halfway across my room. So that's how into it I was. But okay, continuing on, I'm gonna just get you on with the list. I'm not gonna go all the way down because it's a fuckload of games. So there's also Castlevania 2, Belmont's Revenge. That's Game Boy. And then Super Castlevania 4 for the Super Nintendo and the Super Famicom from Japan. That game is also very, very good, and I struggled with Dracula at the end also. But that game was leaps and bounds in I think it was 92 or 93. It was 91. It came out in 91. And then there's Kumaju Dracula, Castlevania Rondo of Blood. That's the game that Castlevania Nocturne, the Netflix series, is based off of. And there's Bloodlines for the Mega Drive or the Sega Genesis. And then there was Dracula X that they released, which was a downplayed version of Rondo of Blood because Rondo of Blood wasn't released in the States. Japan kind of excluded Western territories. I don't know why.
Because it was released on the PC Engine, or as it was known here, the Turbo Graphics, which just didn't sell well.
Thank you very much. That's why I have you guys here. Thank you, Anthony, very much for your information. And then there's Castlevania. Oh, here we go. This is the one that Anubis started with, and then it was 1997. Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
Yep.
So that game was also breakthrough, man. It tore through a lot of what other PlayStation games at the time were doing before a Nintendo 64 or 64-bit consoles were released. So it just totally it's a fan favorite, hardcore fan favorite, and it's got a pretty big, large fan base and followings, and even has a cult following. So yeah, and then we get 1999 Castlevania 64 and Legacy of Darkness. I want to let Lubis know about this. In 1999, they released Castlevania Legacy of Darkness, and this one's based off of a werewolf protagonist.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, it's for Cornell. It was a Legend of Cornell, and that one is a good one, man. And then there was also the releases for the Advance and the Game Boy Advance. When that was released, I bought a Game Boy Advance, and it was pretty crazy. And I always took the Game Boy Advance when I bought the Castlevania Circle of the Moon port for the Game Boy Advance, and I took it to college with me. Now I play it in college. So oh shit, here we go. Let me put this on hold.
That was just some of the legacy from Symphony at Night. I was just going to show a little bit of the gameplay with that.
Yeah.
Oops. Let me go back. There we go.
Yeah, man.
I just thought, even at the time for '97, I thought the graphics were pretty fucking cool.
Still to this day, one of the best soundtracks for any game.
Yes. That was something everybody talked about, was the soundtrack for this.
Okay,
and if you put the PS1 disc in your CD player, you got kind of a techno version of one of the tracks.
What is up?
Kevin.
Entertainment Headquarters, Kevin, Kaiju Goodness, Kaiju Pimp Daddy. Thank you for hitting us up, man. And yeah, I know you were at work. I just thought you might have jumped on, but I didn't know you were at work. So, but I got my boys here. I got the gamer specialist Anthony Jordan and the PC crazy guy Anubis. So yeah, I mean,
just to answer his question, he says, how many games are there? I think there's 27 originals and there's like 3 spin-offs or something. It's somewhere in that range. So there's a lot of them.
Actually, there's like 10 spin-offs. And and don't even quote me on that, because there's a lot of spin-offs. And then
I want to say, yeah, I think they are for PC, but like I told you, Kevin, you just have to you could probably get away with playing some of the older games, because like it's not going to eat up a lot of your RAM, but if you're going to play sort of the modern high-end stuff, you're probably going to need like a more of a gaming computer.
Yeah.
But you can always try it. You never know. But like, just realize, if you're going to get some of these games, don't get the ones that are free, because if you end up paying for something that you can't play, you're going to be pissed off. So don't do that.
That being said, like even most like out of Walmart PCs you can buy, you can go on Steam and you'll be able to run like the Castlevania collection, no problem.
Yeah, and then they released Dominus, which I'll let Anthony talk about real quick, since he knows more about it. I didn't get into the Nintendo DS Castlevanias because I was, like I said, I'm very retro, and I stuck with the next gen games, which was Lords of Shadow and Lords of Shadow 2. So just explain a little bit, Anthony, about Dominus and the 3 games that came with it.
Well, I never played the 3rd game with Soma Cruz, his sequel, and he's a reincarnated Dracula, but I have Portrait of Ruin and Order of Ecclesia for the DS, and I have a working DS. Order of Ecclesia has connections to Castlevania 2, because part of the game is set in one of the villages you go through. Only it's a pain because you have to save the villagers, and it's one of those you have to know where they are to find them all, and if you don't save them all, you get the bad ending. Because this is set post Symphony of the Night and Rondo of Blood, and because what's his name? Richter Belmont, after he fell to the curse, the Belmont family was cursed and they couldn't touch the whip anymore. So other people had to step in and fight Dracula, and this is the story of one of those people. And then Portrait of Ruin, which is a sequel to the Sega Genesis version, because one of the main characters is the son of the guy using the whip from the Genesis game, and it's set during World War II, and an attempt in fighting Dracula again. You actually switch real time in the game between 2 protagonists. When you're not using one, the other follows you, and you have to be strategic with who you're using and which abilities you're using. They're both good, but because you don't have need a guide on your lap, I would recommend Portrait of Rune.
Yeah. No, see, that's what I'm saying. Like he knows more about that genre, well, not genre, but that timeline and the time. See, that thing about Castlevania, man, the timelines are so out there. They're so different. Prequels, sequels, before and after and before, future, World War II, just like Anthony was saying, and that's what I really like about it. But it kind of throws off a lot of the canon. So that's why I guess it was pretty hard for the Netflix series people on Netflix when they made the first series of Castlevania, because they kept trying to think
Well,
about what storyline to go with.
you know the Soma Cruise games are set in the future, right?
Yeah, and Alucard is still around, but Alucard actually has black hair. So I remember that, and then well, like I said, well, I don't. We're not gonna stay too long with a lot of the games because it's a fuckload of games. But I'll just start from the beginning. Of course, we have Castlevania 1, and that's with Simon Belmont, and he goes through. If anybody who watches, it was a 2D. I think it NES game that came out, and it to me I got into it. I just never really I got to the last part, but it was a good game, but and I had that cartridge. I had it, man. I had it. I bought it for like $2 from a garage sale, and I didn't even know if it worked, but I bought it anyway. But then eventually down the line, because I was in the middle of retiring, had to retire and everything, that I sold my Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis. I sold most of the Castlevania games. I had Castlevania Dracula's Curse. I had Rondo of Blood on the not Rondo of Blood. I had Bloodlines on the Genesis, and the games were great, but I just never played them. And the Nintendo, I didn't even know if it worked anymore. But yeah, I played that one, and that one was released in 1986. And the creator, Hitoshi Akamatsu, was the mastermind behind everything. And that game was really good. And then they went with Simon's Quest, which was more of an RPG, but back in the 80s, when RPGs weren't really a thing. But that's why that game was totally different, because that game you really have to, just like any RPG game nowadays, you got to get certain items and you got to go certain places to unlock doors, fight new enemies. The theme would change from day to night, which was crazy for a Nintendo game back in the late 80s. And it was a good game, but it kind of changed the way in NES and Castlevania were used to, like 2D platformers, Sword and Sandals.
But
And
it did
then-
have one fatal flaw. The
What was that?
game gave you no hints on what you were supposed to do. You were intended to play it with a copy of Nintendo Power.
Yeah, and even I think even when it came with a cartridge, it gave you very very to no little information on what to do. And that was, I mean, like you said, if you do Nintendo Powers back then, man, in the 80s, dude, were like, those were the grails. If you did not have a game, or you had a game you're having trouble with, you go to a library, or you get lucky to buy a Nintendo Power at a 7-Eleven or a Good Time store or Stop and Go, and you had to really like go buy that information that they would rely on, because it was just so hard. And then a lot of like games did not come with what to do and anything like that, So, but I mean, it was Japan, so they didn't want to give all this. They wanted to reel you into that fantasy world. You know what I'm saying? And I was gonna ask, before I get to Castlevania 3, DJ Nubis, when was your first interaction, or even first time you even like heard of or even played a Castlevania game?
I keep thinking that Symphony of Night was now a lot of the gaming at the time, because I didn't really to kind of rewind, the first gaming console I ever owned that I purchased myself was Sega Genesis. Now, as far as gaming and kind of being in that world, like I was kind of just following trends with my friend, Mortal Kombat at the arcade, stuff like that. But I mean, I can remember him in early 90s, a game that I think they've kind of redone since then called Splatterhouse. Maybe
Yes.
Anthony knows of this game
I know
too.
it. Yep.
That's
Yeah,
a
the
fun
decent
fucking game.
looking guy.
Yeah. But my friend was playing. I think he started playing Bloodlines first. I think he actually started playing that one like a couple years prior to Symphony.
Yeah.
And then I remember him getting excited playing for when Symphony came out. And I said, "All right, well, let me check this out." And I'd watch him play, and I'd listen to the soundtracks, and I just really thought it was a great game. I didn't play like a whole lot of it, but I did play a little bit of it. But I just remember having a really fun experience with it because I liked the concept, I liked the story. And I know we're going to talk a little bit about the anime a little bit because I think that's what's cool is that they brought all that shit to life through the anime. So it's a lot of fun. I like the concept as well as the gameplay. It's very fun. It's not too hard, but you do have challenges. You said it about the Dracula and Castlevania 3. So they got some moments. I remember like even my friend playing the game, he's like, dude, like this part here is just such a fucking bitch, So everybody has like certain points of a game, especially throughout this series, where they're just like, this is a mind fuck. I can't get through this. What is going on? So you have to kind of keep trying and keep learning how to defeat them, learn their techniques, their moves, like anything else. And yeah, I thought it was a lot of fun. And it's really it's kind of surprising because I didn't even know this many games it existed in this series.
Yeah.
So it's like I kind of want to just go through at some point on my own time, just go through and kind of go look at some gameplay of some of the other games just to see how it is. Like I just never even knew.
Yeah. No, yeah. And then before I continue too, Anthony just gave us a little bit of information on the later gen DS games, but when was your first time playing it, Anthony, my man?
Castlevania 2 on the NES.
Yeah, so that's why you have a love-hate relationship with it.
Yeah, I can love it more now that I could. Well, I loved it back then, but now I appreciate it more because I could just pull up a guide on YouTube or go on some website and okay, go here, get this, then go there.
Yeah, and then which other ones did you? I'm sorry, which other ones did you get into or explain more about Dracula about Simon's Quest?
Well, I had all the 3 on NES. I played that one the most just because there was more to do. I have, actually on my computer, I have this independent ROM hack this guy made of it, and it gives Simon Belmont a whole bunch of different weapons. It seems like a better version of the game overall, but he only gives you 1 life.
Oh, shit.
So, like, you make it through the whole dungeon and you get to the boss of the dungeon and get killed. You got no continue. Well, it continues, but just like the NES version, which was generous about the game, when you die, you could continue. You still had all your gear, but wherever you were, you just started back in the first village, and this is that with just 1 life, so you like can't mess up at all.
Yeah. No, well, I played it. Like I rented that game. Me and my cousin rented that game. Like I think when we were like 8 or 9, man, and we had no clue what to do. And we would keep going back to the same places. Like, dude, what do we do? Like, what do we get? This and that. So we would skip on it. And it wasn't until I got the collection, the anniversary collection, that it's just like Anthony said, that now you have guides. Now you have people on YouTube that can tell you what to do and this and that. But
yeah, I remember once playing it, like I accidentally got the silver knife, and I didn't know how I did it. Like I didn't know you were supposed to throw the garlic in the graveyard. And I was telling my friend about it. He's like, no way, there is no silver knife in that game. I've played more of it than you, and I've never found a silver knife. So again, that's how cryptic it is. People could just play it to no end, and because the game doesn't tell you, you have no clue. If I do this here, I'll get a new item. Or if I go to this corner of the screen and crouch for 15 seconds, the water will drain and the map will lower.
Yeah, and it didn't tell us none of that, man. It didn't say none of that back in the day. You literally had to be like, freaking, you have to read minds or had a crystal ball or some shit, to get through it. And then, like I said, Nintendo Power, and Nintendo Powers were scarce because all the motherfucking gamers would buy them. So, but see, that's what I'm saying. Like, I started with the first one, but then now I'm gonna get to my favorite, Castlevania 3, Dracula's Curse. And I was telling Anubis earlier, I didn't tell Anthony, but that game was kind of like escapism for me also, because of course everyone knows who watches this channel, and all the fam, the Sci-Fi Society, know that Godzilla was the first real character that I ever saw. But after that, I saw this game that my friend told me about, and I love vampires, werewolves, all that shit. So he told me about it. I rented it. I started playing it, fell in love with it, and that was the first game that you can actually use Alucard. Alucard, that was his debut in that game, and he had more of the traditional vampire look, Dracula, cape and not the long
Can I
hair.
ask
Yeah.
you a question?
What's up?
So I know back in the day, like I'm thinking, just a side thing. I used to play Final Fantasy 8 a lot, and 9 and 10 and stuff like that. And you had to go to like bookstores to get like gaming guides. Did they ever make gaming guides for Castlevania? I don't even know.
Well, just like Anthony said, I mean, they mostly went with the Nintendo powered books.
Yeah, if you were lucky, Nintendo Power did an issue or two covering the game, but that was about it.
Yeah, because I'm saying, like, it's funny because you think about now, like, you can easily, like, I remember in the 2000s, you could just pop on GameFAQs and start looking up shit for different games. But, like, back then, man, you really had to kind of figure that shit out for yourself.
Well, it was a real scummy business practice where they were modeling the games around selling you subscriptions of Nintendo Power so you know what you were doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, but like your question, yeah, they did, even towards the late 90s, they did release, I think it was GamePro. I don't know if you guys remember GamePro.
Mm-hmm.
It was GamePro, and I think they did release a guide for Symphony of the Night. And yeah, because Symphony of the Night was also one of those, dude, that you really have to, what do you call it, that one, dude, that's why they call it Metroidvania, because they started calling it Metroidvania, because you got to get certain things to go certain places, you have to unlock or get certain items to unlock another stage or another part of the castle. So that's why it was so difficult. But they did have guides. Like, I bought a few guides. I bought a guide for Castlevania Lament of Innocence for the PlayStation 2. And I had to buy one because I couldn't find anything. I didn't have access to the internet at that point. And I did buy the guide, and because of that guide, I ended up finishing the whole game. So,
well, to answer Kevin's question, they do have on Steam, which is free to sign up for. They do have a Castlevania collection, advanced collection. So they have that for PC. So it's only about like $20. I mean, if you're looking for a cheap game and something that's along the lines of this series, and this is done in 2021, you'd probably try that out and see how it goes.
If you want to play Symphony of the Night, you're probably going to have to download an emulator and just search for a ROM for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and that's another thing too. Like the games were, like I said, Castlevania 3 was, to me, groundbreaking. First time you can use 3 different players: Sypha, Alucard, and Grant. And one thing I hated about the new, I love the Castlevania series, but what I didn't like about Warren Ellis, that little piece of shit, was that he didn't add Grant Dynasty to that series. And great.
Well,
but
that's because Warren Ellis is not smart enough to tell the difference between a gypsy and a pirate. and he said it made no sense that a pirate would be in Europe at that point in history.
He's an idiot, dude. I mean, pirates were all around everywhere. I mean, they were all around everywhere at that time period. And I mean, just because they weren't pirates, like you would think, you know, freaking bandanas and, you know, hardy har and hooks and all that shit. There was always people, especially in Europe, traveling on boats and all that shit, Vikings, all that shit, dude. So they could have said something like that, but I didn't like
He was a gypsy.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's not only that. He wasn't a gypsy. He was just a freedom fighter. He was just a person that was from Wallachia. You know what I'm saying? He was a freedom fighter from Wallachia, and he was actually an acrobat. You know, but he was a pirate. But, I mean, they never really referenced him being a pirate. But, I mean...
this is also the same guy who had to explain in Season 3 that it's not the cross vampires don't like. It's just predators are confused by certain shapes because he's an atheist, and nothing wrong with it. Even if I'm a Christian, I'm not going to judge you, but he had to push his personal beliefs into a piece of fictional writing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. That's what I mean. But like I said, we'll get to parts of the anime series. But like I said, it was a great game. It took me away from the bullshit. It not only was Godzilla an escape, it was also Castlevania 3 that was an escape. And I even told Nubis that I was a very big into drawing, and I would actually draw my own little snippets and stuff like that, make my own little stories on Alucard and Trevor and Grant and Cypher. And I loved it, man. It was a game that till this day, I played it, and I even bought the NES cartridge back in 2006 because I don't know if you remember Easy Games. I don't remember Easy Games. They would sell a lot of retro games. So I got lucky and they had one, and they sold it to me for $14, and it still worked. So I bought it. And yeah, it's a game for me that took me away from the bullshit, from the bullies, the teachers, you know, school in general, fighting all the time. So I loved it, and I would rent that game every single weekend. And from 1990 to 1992. And yeah, it was a great game. Now, from there on, I'm not gonna jump really to the Game Boy games because a lot of people don't really play them that much. And but we're gonna jump to Castlevania 4. Came out for the NES. That game also groundbreaking. You know, next gen Super NES. But they go back. The thing that really tripped me out about Konami and the people, the developers, was that they would always revamp it or reboot it. So they brought Simon back, and they did it, you know, kind of like the original Castlevania came out in '86. And the game, dude, the graphics in the game for the time were fucking through the roof, man. And that game is also very, very hard. And I remember when Gojira, Matt was watching me play, man, and he even said it. He even commented when I was playing. He says, "Man, well, I kept losing to Dracula. I think I lost to him 6 times." And Matt literally says in a comment, says, "Man, I commend you for trying, but Dracula's giving you the business." And I was laughing my ass off, bro, because he knew how much I was getting my ass beat. But that game, I don't know if you. Well, let me ask, Anthony, did you play it?
I never beat it till the Legacy Collection because I actually had a broken cartridge of the game. And you know the part after you fight that giant skull in the room supposed to rotate?
Yeah.
I would get to that point and the room would never rotate. So here I am thinking I'm just supposed to swing back and forth and make this next to impossible jump when it was just a broken game cartridge that wouldn't let me progress further. And the funny thing is, it was actually a brand new copy. Well, it was old new, but it was still an original shrink wrap copy of the game.
Oh, cool. Oh, really? Well, that sucks, man. I mean, a broken cartridge, like, I mean, you get that. I mean, well, at least you got it in the Legacy Collection. That's good. But I just realized that when I was younger, man, it was so much easier to get through it. But I beat it when I was younger. But when I replayed it on my YouTube channel, I had trouble. Like my reaction time, my freaking fingers were my fingers were getting tired. I was like, what the hell, man? It was a groundbreaking game. I know Anubis didn't play it because he said you didn't really play until Symphony of the Night. But we'll get to Symphony of the Night.
It did throw you a bone in the Dracula fight because he has this one attack. If you hit it, the attack will drop health for you.
Yeah. Yeah, well, shit. That's something I got to try that when I get back to it.
Yeah, it's that little like ball of light he shoots out. If you hit that when he shoots it, it'll drop a turkey leg.
Oh yeah. I remember that now. Yeah, I remember that. But yeah, that game was really good, man. A lot of the the bosses, the Grim Reaper, bro. The Grim Reaper's in every single game. The Grim Reaper's in every single game. The Grim Reaper is God's right hand man. I mean, God. Sorry, that's Dracula's right hand man. So
4 probably had the easiest Grim Reaper because if you stand in this one spot and just hold the whip up, you can block like 90% of his attacks.
yeah, but the ones in the NES, those were rough. Oh, what's up, Gojira? What is up, man? Gojira51, thank you for joining, man. Just talking Castlevania. So yeah, Castlevania 4 was easier when I was young. I think that's for everyone. But
I'm the opposite.
yeah, and then now, like I said, we're not going to go through all of them because there's a lot of them. But I want to get to what Nubis was talking about. And I don't know if Nubis, I don't remember if he said he played it, but we're going to get to Castlevania Bloodlines. So Castlevania Bloodlines for the Sega Genesis. And the Genesis really wanted to get in on what he wanted to get in on the Castlevania bandwagon, so
What's up, Goji?
yeah, hey Goji,
And Jedi.
hey, what's up, Jedi? Hey, Gojira, you want to jump on, man? You can jump on if you want to. I can send you an invite. But yeah, okay. So tell me, Anubis, what you thought about Bloodlines, man.
To be honest, it's been so long, I kind of forgotten about it. But I do remember the tag, that line, like Bloodlines. I do remember it, but I'd have to go back and kind of refresh of what it was all about. It's been so long. Like I remember Symphony far more than Bloodlines, but I just know my friend was like heavily into the series at that point. So you'll probably have to refresh my memory about what it was all about and the story and everything.
What do you call it? Yeah, man, it's that Bloodlines was, and again, it's kind of like a reboot, but they actually went with, instead of Dracula, they went with a female vampire antagonist. I think her name was Elizabeth Bartley.
Yeah,
and,
which is inspired by Elizabeth Bathory.
Yeah, she was inspired by Elizabeth Bathory. Hence, Castlevania Nocturne. So, yeah, it stars. I think, is it Jonathan Morris?
Jonathan Morris and Eric Lacarde.
Yeah, Eric Lacarde, and Eric Lacarde this was the first time they implemented a spear weapon into a Castlevania game, and the game is good, man. It came on the Mega Drive or the Sega Genesis ports, Sega Genesis console, so it wasn't like advanced like Super Nintendo, but it was still really, it was still really a good game. And at this point, Elizabeth Bathory was the antagonist, and Jonathan Morris was wielding the Vampire Killer whip, and the Vampire Killer whip has some kind of a curse that if it's not used by a Belmont or Belmont blood, then it shortens the lifespan of the wielder.
Yeah, but he was a little more resilient because apparently he's like a distant cousin of the Belmonts.
Yeah,
And he's
exactly.
also the son of John Quincy Morris from the book Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Keep going, guys. Keep going. Keep talking, Anthony.
Which is an interesting touch. They kind of incorporated the novel into canon, even though it doesn't completely make sense when you think about it.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like I said, that's the thing about Castlevania, Anubis. I don't know why they would keep always changing the stories. They would change the characters. They would change the timelines. And Bloodlines was a good game for the Sega Genesis. And
Well,
but
that's
moving on. Go ahead.
you mentioned the changing. That's like in Order of Ecclesia, the main character Shanoa. Originally, she was not meant to be part of the Belmont family. Now, Konami has retconned that and said, "Oh, she's another distant relative."
Oh, okay, so they just added her to the canon.
Well,
So
not to the
when did
canon, to the Belmont family tree, which she shouldn't be a part of.
What was that, Anubis?
so when did Carmilla enter the fray, or is she just like a whole different character?
She was in Castlevania too.
Yeah, she was in Castlevania too, but she was just a big floating
head.
a floating mask or a head.
Oh, okay.
And, but Carmilla, but like I said, we'll get to that too. And so we're at Bloodlines. Now we're gonna jump to Rondo of Blood. So Rondo of Blood is where Richter makes his debut, and also Maria. But this is Rondo of Blood. Really was more of the Japanese style of game that came out on the what was it called, Anthony, the
PC and TurboGrafx.
Yeah, TurboGrafx engine, and it's still a disc. So it had
it was on these weird things. They were called hue cards, and they were rectangle shaped, and you basically had like the game data at the bottom of it, but the card itself was like a much softer material.
Yeah, but it had a lot more power. You can do a lot more things with it, and that's why Japan released it through the TurboGrafx PC engine, but they didn't send it out through Western market until later on, until you were able to get it on the Wii, which I still have my Wii, and it's called the WiiWare. It was the WiiWare store. What's up, Omni Blast? The Sci-Fi Society Baroness. There we go.
What's and if up? I'm correct, she'll be starting her own channel soon.
There we go. It's the Sci-Fi
Which
Society.
Reminds me though, like I know she's doing a review with Kevin on something. I think Longlegs. But Omni, if you're up for it, I haven't done my review for Exuma yet, so if you want to get together and do that, we can do that.
Yep. And Gojira, if you're still on the stream, bro, I already sent you an invite if you want to jump on, because I know you love this game too. I know you love this genre too. But yeah, Omni, be waiting for your channel when you start doing the reviews with Kevin. I remember I'm gonna have you on here eventually with all of us as well on Sci-Fi Society. So so going back to it, Rondo of Blood, I don't know why they didn't release it in the Western market, but eventually they did. And they do. Oh, actually, you know what? I bought the collection of Rondo of Blood, the original Rondo of Blood version with the Symphony of the Night for the PS5. So Yeah, I don't know what
I
I'm
do
gonna
not
do.
like the changed voice acting for Symphony of the Night in that one.
Oh, they changed the voice acting. Oh
Yeah,
man.
I do not like the new voice act. It's not bad, but maybe it's just because I'm accustomed to the PS1 voice acting. But like when I hear the new Alucard voice actor, that's not Alucard.
Yep, that's cool. What's crazy is I just watched the rewatch Exuma last night. How was it? But
Oh,
yeah.
dude,
So
actually, Sentry. Just aside on that, like you'd probably enjoy Exuma because it actually deals with like a demon samurai that's involved.
I'm gonna have to
ooh,
look for that.
yeah, I gotta look up that one. Right, but
Yeah,
is that one on any platform? Is that on a streaming service?
it's on Shutter currently. Yeah.
Oh, okay, I have to get that one. I don't have a lot of them. The only one I run is Netflix. But yeah, for sure. Okay, so getting back to it. Don't want to take too long because it's a Thursday, and I don't know if Lewis has to work. But yeah, man. Look, I when I got the port,
Picking
I
on the
think
old man. I don't have to work tomorrow. I'm good.
okay, good. Okay, depending on how my back is, to see how long it can last. But so I did end up downloading the Rondo of Blood original version on the Wii, and man, that fucking game is hard. It is hard, and but that's the beauty of it, and the gameplay is so much better. And later on, I mean, before the Super Nintendo was already becoming obsolete, and they were going to go to I think it was the 64. They they released like a second-rate version, which is called Dracula X, Castlevania Dracula X, and it's just like Rondo of Blood, but they take out the fact that you can use Maria, and they take out elements, other stages, and stuff like that. So it was just a watered-down version,
Yeah,
but
the harder version.
yeah, and it came with it came with the Castlevania Advance that I got. And but I said, no, you know what? I'm gonna get the original one that came with the Symphony of the Night. So I ended up buying that one. That one I got for I think $12. It was on sale. So but yeah, Rondo of Blood was great, man. Dracula X was okay, so. But yeah, it's those Richter. That's what I'm saying. Richter Belmont, the main protagonist for the new Castlevania Netflix show, Castlevania Nocturne. It does go with the majority of the canon, but it's just that it's not Dracula. So, but it's if you know, and we're waiting for it. Me and Anubis, everybody, we're waiting for season 2, and I can't wait for season 2. See what they do.
Except
But
for me.
yeah. So, but yeah, man. I mean,
Except for you.
Yeah, like I don't get me wrong, I like the part of the timeline they're getting into now, but because of my love for Castlevania 2 and the first one, like I was wanting to see Simon Belmont and like, no, if they're gonna skip past him, I'm out.
yeah, yeah. Okay. So, okay. Remember, we already talked about Bloodlines and Rondo of Blood. So, actually, Bloodlines was after Rondo of Blood, so I got that wrong. And then there was Dracula X. And now we go to Symphony of the Night. Rondo of Blood was what do you call it? Was the start of it. It's what started the storyline into Symphony of the Night. And Symphony of the Night, man, we already talked about it. That game was groundbreaking, was amazing. Alucard as the protagonist instead of any other Belmont or any other character connected to the Belmont clan. The thing that I love the most, man, even though it was kind of hard to do, was I always would, when I played the game, I would always love to do the 3 fireballs. He would open his cape. He would open his cape, and he could shoot 3 fireballs out like his dad in the original games. And that's what I loved about it. And no, it was a great game. But I'll get to everybody right now. I want to get to everybody's take on it. But Alucard being at the top, long hair, gothic style, Dracula. This is when they finally mentioned Dracula Tepesh, and it was a great game, man. They have a grown up Maria and Richter, in that game also. So yeah, it's a great game, dude. I can't talk about it enough, man. But I want to get to Anubis on what he thought about that game when he first played it.
Which one? Symphony?
Symphony of the Night.
No, I really loved it. I liked it a lot. I said I like the gameplay, the storyline, and the soundtrack is of course amazing. It was a lot of fun. Like it's been a long time, so I kind of feel bad now because I wish I still had like old gaming consoles that I can go back and play that on. I should have been forward thinking like you and gone back and fucking like held on to that shit so I can play them still, but I wasn't. I just got too many fucking damn hobbies. So currently, let's say you'll go and like sort of do what they did with like Final Fantasy VII and kind of remake Symphony of the Night, which I wouldn't mind. I did go and invest in the PS5 and whatever and do it that way, but
Good. No, yeah. See, you can play as Richter in Symphony of the Night. Actually, what he means by that Anubis and Anthony already knows, but if you beat Symphony of the Night and you save Richter instead of letting him die, you can actually play as Richter. You can replay the game as Richter.
But you have to start a new game and enter his name as the file name.
Yeah, look at Omni. Hey, Gojira, if you're watching, dude, I already sent you the invite if you want to jump on real quick. I have fond memories of playing Castlevania back in the day. Yes, I knew it, man. I knew it. If anybody who was a gamer geek or into Gothic stuff, I don't doubt it, man. I mean, that game was such a it's one of the longest lasting series video games ever from Konami. And that's what I love about it. And it's still to this day, man. Come on, dude. I'm freaking 44 years old and I'm still playing it. I'm going back to doing all the playthroughs. But here we go. There's Gojira.
What's up, guys? How y'all doing?
Just chill, man.
Goji.
Glad you could come on, man. Talking about Castlevania. We're at Symphony of the Night right now.
My jam. I love that game. That's probably my favorite in the franchise.
I would probably agree, except I haven't played everything else. So
Christmas 1999, my mom got me a PlayStation 1 and this game for Christmas.
Nice. Now that's a good Christmas. Now that is a good Christmas.
I'm jealous.
I could have bought the original PlayStation port of Symphony of the Night when I was living in Dallas, but I passed on it.
Now, have you guys played the remaster of this game that came out like a year ago?
I have it, but I haven't played it. But I did play the digital version on the Xbox 360 a few years ago.
It was actually a little more than a year ago, but I had it. I said I liked it, but the one thing I didn't like was the new voice acting.
Really? You didn't like it?
No,
please elaborate.
I just can't. Those voices just don't feel right with the characters for me. Like the voices I grew up with, that's what I think of when I think of the characters, not the new ones.
So you like the hammy acting, huh?
Yeah, and just like that, especially Alucard's voice actor, just the mood, tone, and rhythm of his voice. I think it fits Alucard better than what we got in the the remaster that came out on PS4.
No, I agree because remember the beginning they had Dracula and remember what is a man but a miserable pile of secrets. They played it so like almost like monotone, and it's like in the original he had like such like gravitas to it, and it was like so over the top. It's like you just want your Dracula say that over and over again. Now it's like it's just a regular guy just saying it.
Dracula seemed kind of bored.
Yeah, exactly. So.
What a terrible night to have it cursed.
Yeah. Yeah, just like, oh no.
Yeah, it's like, but no, man. But yeah, Symphony of the Night was great, especially the upside down castle.
Oh yeah.
the upside down castle, and then
Who here knows about the secret weapon in the upside down castle?
I do.
When I streamed it on my channel, it's this weapon called a Chrysagram, and I wasn't going to attempt to try and grind it out on stream, but after killing the enemy 3 times, I got it, and this weapon is so powerful, you can literally beat the final boss just by...
Sounds like my kind of game.
As a dagger, but it has a gigantic hitbox that just obliterates everything in front of it.
Thank you, Castlevania, for the cheats at least. But no, but like yeah, so Gojira knows about it, Anubis knows about it. This was Anubis's actually first Castlevania game that he played. Gojira.
So good.
It's good, and then I remember, and it's they have an old Maria, they have an older Maria, and then they have Richter. And yeah, man, it's a great game. It like I said, it set a standard for 1997 when it came out. And yeah, the voice acting was pretty 90s, you know, the original, because the Xbox 360 version that I have, that I downloaded years ago, that one has the original dub.
Nice.
But yeah, cool. Okay, so we're gonna get to gonna skip the Game Boy ones. I don't know if you guys ever played the Legacy of Darkness.
I have.
Is that the 64 one?
Yeah.
I didn't play that one. No.
Okay, I didn't play the 64 one either because I didn't hear good things about it.
I've played and at least beaten the first character story.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know it has 4 different playable characters in it.
Really?
You start off with the werewolf guy, then after you beat him, you get a shorter campaign with this guy that has a gun, and you just have to save these characters. And you could just lazy your way through, run out of time, but regardless, when you beat that, you unlock the 2 characters from Castlevania 64. So this is essentially Castlevania 64 with 2 other campaigns before it.
Excuse me.
But it was better. I mean, it was better than the original Castlevania 64.
Yeah, even when you get to the Castlevania 64 characters and you're effectively playing Castlevania 64, it's still not by much, but marginally better. But I did remember at least having fun with the werewolf guy.
Are we talking about Legacy?
Yeah, Legacy of Darkness.
So, yeah, I was looking at some gameplay. Like, why does it seem like the graphics are worse than Symphony? Like, it's really weird.
Well, that was because they went with because Symphony was a 2D style platformer, and they went with 3D in 64 because everything was pretty much everything was going to 3D anyway.
Right.
So they decided to go with that, but Symphony of the Night blew it out of the water, man.
Yeah, it's like I'm looking at that kind of gameplay from Legacy, and it's like, although the concept is probably very cool, it's like I'm like, this is terrible. I don't like this.
But it was a better game than the actual than the original 64. But now, guys, I don't know. I wonder if you played this, but I'm gonna skip the advance because those are like 4 or 5 games in advance, but they were good. I'll just mention them. Circle of the Moon was good, but it was another reboot. And then there was Castlevania Chronicles. That one had a different version of Rondo of Blood. And then there was Harmony of Dissonance. That one was pretty good, but the music. Remember, we can't forget the music from the majority of these games is awesome, even from the NES versions and the Famicom version. The music's always good on these games. And then Aria of Sorrow, I never got to Aria of Sorrow yet, but those are all like 2000s Game Boy Advance titles. But now I want to get to one of my favorite ones that actually was a good 3D style game, and that was I hope you played it, Gojira and Anthony. Castlevania: Lament of Innocence.
Sorry, I haven't.
What about you, Anthony?
I liked it, but like by the end, like the difficulty was it just went from I remember it going from this is hard but fair to this is just borderline cheating.
Yeah, I beat it. That's why I had to get the gamer's guide. I had to get the I forgot what gamer guide it was, but I bought the gamer's guide and I beat. I was kind of like you. I kind of was giving up because it was really hard. But once I got into it, man, especially me as I'm a what's it called? I'm a completionist. So I played it, man, and I started learning the mechanics and everything, and I really loved it, man. And it's the start because Leon Belmont was the beginning. He was this. I think it was 12. I think it was 1274 AD. And remember, they even showed Leon in the first Castlevania series on Netflix. They showed him. Showed him in a painting.
Yeah, season 2.
Yeah, it was a great game, man. It was for PlayStation 2, but it was way better than 64 and Legacy of Darkness, man. And it really took that gameplay 3D style really good, really well. They brought back the vampire killer. It's the beginning of the Belmont Legacy. So then they have Death. Oh, dude, Death looks so. The Grim Reaper looks so awesome in that game when he's the last boss, dude, and it's so good, man. It's such a good. I have that game on my PS3, and I wish I can find a way to freaking play it and then play it live. But I would have to get the PlayStation. What is it? PlayStation Plus to be able to do that, and I can't afford, bro. I can't afford it with all the shit I got going on. But
that's a tangent itself. But I hate that how with PlayStation there are so many classic games they have that are locked behind the higher subscriptions. Yeah, like on my Xbox, if I want to play the original Knights of the Old Republic, I can just put the game disc in and play it.
Backwards compatibility for Xbox.
Matt's like, don't get me started, man. Don't get me started.
Hey Gojira, man. I love PlayStation, bro, but I was always an Xbox guy. And God bless Xbox for backwards compatibility with the disc.
Hello? Game. You know what? Let me stand on my soapbox for a second. There's this little game called Alien vs. Predator. Came out in 2010, I think. You can play as the alien. You can play as a predator. You can play as a human if you wanted to play. And it was awesome. You can't play shit nowadays for alien, predator, and human altogether. You can only play as an alien. You can't play shit for a predator now. If you want to play as that, you got to play on a PC, okay? And I don't have PC gaming. I'm one of the console peasants over here, okay? I don't have PC gaming, okay? All right, I'm a console peasant, okay? So if I ever want to play a PlayStation 3 game again, I got to go out and I got to spend like $600 on a dadgum PS3. And I'm not spending no PS3 money like that ever again, okay? So I'm up the hill. I'm up the creek without a paddle. So I'm going to get out of my
Hey, we keep it raw real. You can cuss if you want to, bro. We keep it raw and real in this motherfucker anyway.
Yeah. Don't hold back, Matt, please. For the love of God, it's great for clips.
Well,
I was about to say somebody clipped that.
It's a big glass of bullshit. That's what it is.
See, and I can still play that game because I have Alien vs. Predator on the Xbox, and I can still play it because I still have it on Xbox. Yeah. And
See, I run into the opposite problem. Like I have PC stuff. I have a console, but it's like a dated console with Xbox One. So like,
I'm DJ Anubis. I'm a PC player. Yeah.
Yeah. Here comes the war.
And here's some more songs on the game.
Let's just rub it in Gojira's face. Yeah. He just he just wants to play Alien vs. Predator on PlayStation 3 again. Oh no, that's all I've got it this way. Oh yeah, I can play it this way. Meanwhile, I'm over here with the PlayStation 5 and I can't do shit.
Hey,
Which is shocking because it's like a really good console. So
yeah, exactly. But I can't do shit with it. I see how it is. I have 3 games on it and it's full. I see how it is.
hey, brother, my brother. Just to add a little salt on the wound, man. When I got it on my Xbox 360 years ago, it actually transported to my Xbox Series S, so I can even play it on my Xbox Series X whenever I want to. But it's like, but I mean, I'm not
downloading it today.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna put no more salt in it, bro. But
it's fine. I'm kidding. I
know, man.
He's kidding, but deep down he's like, motherfuckers.
If we get any more salt over this, we're all gonna have to go to the ER for blood pressure.
Yeah. Hey, well, I mean, like I said, if I ever do go to Japan, man, I'll fit you in my suitcase, and then you can buy a bunch of.
You had to bring that up again, didn't you? You just had to bring that up again, didn't you?
Hey, you could get a lot of video games over there. You can't play, man. You can bring them over here.
All right, deal. All right, deal.
Okay, so Lament of Innocence was awesome. Lament of Innocence was awesome, man. So okay, now I'm gonna skip now the what do you call it, there was a few more advanced titles, and then there was the DS. Anthony already got down with the DS ones. And then, of course, Order of Ecclesia. Oh, no, wait. Curse of Darkness was good. Dawn of Sorrow was all right. Portrait of Ruin was good. Dracula X Chronicles, that was on PSP, I think. And then there was the Castlevania Adventure Rebirth. I have that on the Wii. And then...
Can I back up real quick? So, like, I love the artwork for Lament and Curse. So how were those games? Like, were they pretty good?
Oh, yes. I forgot to mention, remember, anybody who was watching, this is not a deep dive. This is not a docuseries or anything like that. But it's only as we love the game because we played them. We played them back in the day. The artist who actually started, I think she started in the early 2000s. No, 97. Her name is Ayami Kojima. She's the one, and it's a girl who does the artwork from Symphony of the Night all the way until I think Curse of Darkness. And she did all of that, and her likenesses and her style is actually referenced in the new Castlevania series that have come out. So the artists for those series in Netflix, they take inspiration from her and they do it the way they're doing it the style that she did it. So, but Curse of Darkness was good. It's just that's where Hector and Isaac debut. So then we're gonna get to Gojira's, and one of my own Gojira's favorite, and we're gonna go to next gen in 2010, and that's Lords of Shadow.
Yes.
Yep, Castlevania Lords of Shadow, man, and I have it right here. I think I showed it to you guys. I bought this game from GameStop. I pre-ordered it.
Yes.
And it comes with 2 discs, man. That's how long this game is. It has 2 discs. And it was a dude. But they took, I mean, of course, it's another reboot, because they can't just recycle Simon and Trevor all the time. So they went with a new protagonist named Gabriel Belmont. Mm-hmm. And dude, like, if you play this game, well, like I said, and Anubis, when you get a chance, go to see my latest video that I uploaded, and that's Castlevania Lords of Shadow. What do you call it? Agharta Ruins, and it's really good, man. And it's got gameplay elements of a certain other games that we know about, but it's just the artwork, the aesthetic, the backgrounds. The style of the monsters, man, the brutality, the gore. Mm-hmm. If you were to play this game, and you would love it just for the gore factor and the fact that they show nudity, they have werewolves in it, they have death, they have like so much stuff, man. And let me pass it to Gojira because I know he loves this game, and then I'll give it to Anthony.
The opening scene of the game is enough to get you in it. I mean, as a werewolf fan, you're probably gonna love and hate it at the same time. But for me, I absolutely loved it. You know, the way how it was portrayed, the location of it, the actual combat you had to do with it is just absolutely awesome. Later in the game, when you have to deal with vampires as well, you know, the locations you had to deal with, the castles that you have to go to, the artwork behind it as well, finding new weapons. It's not just as simple as, oh, I go to a new room and I find a new weapon. No, it actually is story-driven, the weapons that you find as well. I'll give you an example. Like the holy water. There's actually a huge reason why the holy water is a huge thing in the game. And having it actually has consequences as well in it as well. I don't want to really, get too far into it as well. There's some surprise voice actors in this game as well. Not going to get into who it is, but when you hear them, it's like, oh shit, he's in this game.
Let him know, man. Let him know.
I'll let him find out. Or do you want to tell him?
If Anthony knows the actor and he came on, he's a well-known English Irish actor, or Irish or Scottish, but
isn't Patrick Stewart in it?
Yes.
Yeah, Patrick Stewart. Yeah, Patrick Stewart is in it. A few other notable English actors, and then there's the. Okay, I'll just give you a hint, Anubis. He came out in Ravenous.
Ravenous? It's been a while since I've seen the flick. See, now you're gonna fuck with me all day. So let me see this.
Go ahead and let him know, Gojira.
No, you already started.
Yeah, I'm already down the rabbit hole. So let me see.
Okay, yeah, look it up. It doesn't say on the game, and that or I'm getting old and I can't see.
I'm just trying to see who it probably. Is it Guy Pearce?
No.
Carlisle?
Yes.
Okay. So the lead guy. Okay.
And he does an amazing job, man. And they you can tell, and the voice actors took this game seriously, dude. And it was a hit, dude. It was a great hit in as far as releases and being a reboot. And yeah, man. I mean, go ahead, Gojira. I didn't mean to.
I like that about the series because, like, you know, they had like Jason Isaacs and Bill Nye, Lance Reddick, and Barbara Steele. Like Barbara has like whole tie into the old classic Hammer horror films, so that was really cool that she was involved with the series.
Guy who voiced Trevor was Thorin from the Hobbit movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And let me get to Anthony. What did you think of Lords of Shadow?
I've never finished it, but I'm familiar with the story, so I'll just leave it at this. It was a Greek tragedy.
Yeah, it is. I don't want to get too far into the story because once I start, I don't want to say too much, especially those who haven't played it.
I know the story, but I won't spoil it for Anubis.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil it for Anubis either, but it's an epic. It's a Greek tragedy, and for me, it's an epic. Now, that being said, when we talk about the sequel, there are things about the sequel which is going to be.
Before we get to, what are you talking about? The one that came out on the DS that's set technically the side story in between the sequel or the actual sequel?
Mirror of Fate? No, not Mirror of Fate. No, I mean Mirror of Fate was just a prequel to both of them.
No, it's set in between, but it's set after Lord of Shadow, but before the next one, because part of the game they send someone with a familial connection to Dracula to kill him, and something happens to him that just it adds more layers to the Greek tragedy, and then someone connected to that person comes back years later, and it's those two characters' story.
Yeah, it's a very interesting story, man. It's sad, it's tragic, but it's also
Well,
um
see, I like that though because when you have stories that you can kind of immerse yourself into, that's always fun. Like that makes games a lot more fun.
Mhm.
like it was like, and he let's just say that when if you ever do decide to play it, man, the protagonist Gabriel Belmont goes through hell, bro. He goes through so much hell, dude, and it's kind of all for nothing. But
Mhm.
when you get to part two, it's more of a not revenge, but more
It's the
like
Lord
what?
of Shadow is the fall of Gabriel Belmont. The sequel is the redemption of Gabriel Belmont.
Yeah, like it's it's a good story. Even like now getting to part two, man, there was a lot, like, and I know Kojiro agreed with me. There's a lot of badass elements in part two,
Yes.
but there was, but the settings were kind of like not they. I was with it at first, but then the it's kind of like it's like
It's a bait switch.
yeah,
It was a
modern
combination of
yeah,
gothic, futuristic, and borderline post-apocalyptic in it. The
some
three
Yeah.
just
sci-fi.
did not
Yeah,
blend together as well as they should have.
go ahead, Kojiro.
All right.
Go ahead.
So we're talking about the second one now, right?
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So the game begins, and well, I guess we have to talk about spoilers if we're going to talk about the second one.
Mhm.
So Anubis, is it okay if we talk about it?
Yeah, no, because like I don't even know when I'll be able to get to this, but like I said, I still like Star. So even if I know the result, like I'm still going to be interested. So you're good.
So Gabriel defeats the main villain of the first game, but in doing so, he becomes the new power of evil, i.e., he becomes Dracula.
He
Okay.
So this,
had
so
to
this,
become a vampire to have the power to beat that final entity.
yes. So the beginning of this game is now mankind rising to kill Dracula. And he's in his castle by himself, secluded, but they come to his castle to kill him. And all the trailers show is Dracula fighting the hordes of men. They're all clad in armor, and it shows Dracula using his ethereal powers, creating his main weapon from the first game. Pretty much was essentially it was the vampire killer, but it was a more holy weapon. It was like an actual crucifix that actually has a huge chain in it as well. It was more than what it was in the original franchise
It was a
of the game.
cross, a whip, and a stake all in one.
Yeah,
Oh
it
wow.
was. Yeah, it was a real Swiss Army knife of weapons. But in this game, he can like create it with the energies of his body. And in the first trailer, it's like this big epic music and all this epicness, and he's like killing everybody. He's feasting on them. It's like, oh shit! And you're doing that in the game, and all of a sudden they have this giant Titan like mech thing, steampunk mech thing, and you have to like climb on it, like what the fuck's the name
Shadow
of
of
that game?
Colossus,
Yes,
almost.
thank you. Yeah, Shadow of the Colossus. You have to like climb on it, and you have to like slowly take it apart and like destroy it piece by piece. And then you finally kill a final boss. It's like, yes, I'm kicking ass. And then you wake up in modern times. No, no. It's like, oh, that sucks. And it's like that's like a biggest like bait and switch I felt. It's like I wanted to be in like medieval times as Dracula, and I wanted to be, around like that entire medieval setting. And it's like, oh no, we've got robots now, and now we've got, steampunk stuff. And it's like, oh, and now you have to like sneak around like power doors and stuff and like power down electricity. It's like, oh no. And then you have to find like portals and stuff to like go to the past to like relive things from your past as Dracula, and then go back to the future to then like unlock future parts of your future. But then you have to go back to the past to unlock. It's like, oh come on, like really, you couldn't. So it's like it was awesome, but then it stopped being awesome. Then it would start being awesome again. I'm sorry, what now?
Go ahead, Anthony.
There's also this a la carte DLC that, from what I understand, gives the game more context about when you wake up in the future. It's something that should have been implemented into the main game instead of a DLC. And Alucard is actually Trevor Belmont, who was sent to kill Dracula. And when this was in Mirror of Fate, and Dracula kills him only to realize it's his son. And when he does, he tries to turn Trevor's into a vampire. And it's not till years later, till Simon's fully grown up, that Trevor wakes up and he takes the name Alucard.
Yeah, like an Alucard in that game, dude. Like even the DLC, dude, he brought back the Crusaderum. They brought back the Crusaderum sword, and it's like an igneous, and it's a sword that can absorb, uses heat and cold.
It was made with fragments of the Dracula killer, so it was
the vampire killer. Yeah, so it was. Yeah, and it's a great game, man. But you got to admit though, when you fight Death, and here's the thing, Nubis, Patrick Stewart plays Death. He plays the Grim Reaper.
That's crazy.
And the Grim Reaper in Lords of Shadow 2, bro, looks freaking sick with that freaking huge scythe it's a scythe made out of steel, but it's connected to a spine. So it's really good, man. It's a really good game, and
Satan is really the main enemy.
Yeah, Satan is the main antagonist. So that's what. But see, part two, there were good parts of it, man. There were really good parts of it. Yeah. But it's like the whole going back to the past into the future. But at the end, he does find redemption, and it's like and Alucard joins him, and they wanted to end the Xbox Series, the Xbox 360 style with that game, and they haven't made a 3D game since.
The biggest problem is Lord of Shadow 2 story should have been a part 4, maybe. There was more story they could have told in between instead of the half prequel, half sequel Mirror of Fate. So it's got a great story, but overall it was a missed opportunity with poor execution.
Can I say one thing though?
Sure.
Remember our favorite line from Symphony of Night about what is a man but a miserable pile of secrets?
Oh, yep. The line delivery for that.
Yeah, he says that in Lords of Shadow too.
But he brings so much gravitas to it.
Yeah, but he's in the process of being attacked by an army of knights and other people attacking his castle at the time. So he's even more annoyed. So it's like, it's like a huge, it's like a big battle sequence pretty much. And like the war drums are banging, epic music is playing. And you just hear him say that like in the midst of it. So it's badass. But yeah, you can't beat the Symphony of the Night. But I just liked hearing him say it there as well. It's his catchphrase. It's like, yes, like it's like the Joker laughing. It's like he has to do it.
What is a man but a miserable pile of secrets? And it's good, bro. Like I said, there's so much about the game we could talk about, but it's a long game. Both of them are really long games, dude. So
Anubis, I'm gonna share something it's a clip on YouTube. I'm going to share it in the group chat. Pull it up on the screen. It's the "What is the man" line from Lords of Shadow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but as far as Lords of Shadow, man, that was a great game. They finished the 360 era with that, and they haven't done one since. But they're thinking about they're thinking about another 3D, but it's been in development hell for a while already. But I don't know what they're gonna go with next. But yeah,
Has
man.
at any point in the Castlevania series have you ever got to play like the other side, like the demons or the vampires, outside of Alucard?
No, not that I know.
Never done that. Okay.
There's a fighting game on the Wii, so technically yes.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
But that's a fighting game, so yeah, not really. It's not really a story-driven game. It's just a fighting game.
And
Gotcha.
oh my, the character designs for that game. When I saw Simon, I thought my eyes were gonna bleed.
When I saw Grant, I was like, no way. I was like, well, the guy from Death Note designed them.
Oh yeah.
But he's a great artist, but his style does not work for Castlevania.
Yeah, but no, but yeah, that's the only fighting game Castlevania came up with, and it's called Castlevania Judgment.
Gotcha.
I got that one too. I had all the games, but I had Curse of Darkness, Lament of Innocence. But I sold them all because I was in desperation for money, But yeah, man, there's a series that the ones that we talked about, and we're at 127. We'll just talk about it because we didn't get a chance to talk about it before. Let's say Castlevania Nocturne came out because I was always busy and going through some shit. We don't have to go through detail by detail, but I want to talk about season 3 because we already talked about season 1 and season 2 for Castlevania, the first Netflix series. But for part 3, I want to get to part 3, and part 3, man, is, let's just say, I'll just start off with it. It's not bad, but I think to me it's kind of it's the weakest one in the series. But it does expand on Isaac and Hector, and then Alucard, and then with Trevor and Sypha. So yeah, dude, it's just it. Well, first of all, okay, I want to get your take on it, Anubis. Like what you thought about season 3 for the first one.
I'd have to kind of go back and rewatch them. Like, I actually need to order these on Blu-ray because I really do enjoy this series a lot. But if I recall, some of it is a lot really centered around Alucard and some of his sadness after Dracula's death and his ties to a couple of characters in terms of teaching them magic or withholding that. But yeah, I mean, as the series went on, like I kind of found myself, like, I don't know, out of the whole series, which is kind of funny, I find myself enjoying Carmilla a lot.
Yeah.
But I don't know, the entire series is great. I just really like it. But the third season, like, it's not quite as strong as the first two, but that's, I think part of it's because Dracula is gone. Like, you kind of have that final boss who's already been defeated. So, I don't know. I did really enjoy a lot, but not as quite as well as the other ones.
But the Legion, do you remember the Legion one? The Legion ending that Isaac had to stop himself?
Yeah. And I found those characters very interesting with like Isaac and of course Hector. I always thought those were kind of cool characters.
Isaac's story just got bigger and bigger as it went on, and you can see the change. You can see the change as he travels the world and finds out that not all humans are bad. He starts to realize that, I'm not. Why am I so mean to them? And he tries really hard to be civil, but they don't let him. So it's like he has to go back to being what he was, and that's he's one of Dracula's forge masters, and yeah, poor Alucard. Alucard got not only Alucard, but freaking Hector got Alucard and Hector had to fucking they got shafted real bad.
Do you think that and anybody can answer this, do you think that Alucard had like the biggest arc as a character in the series?
For the season 3, I think that's
just in general, like for all.
Yeah,
like
for the series as a whole, yes.
Yeah.
I think so. What do you think, Bajira?
I can't really comment on it. I didn't finish the series, so
Okay.
I don't want
You don't
No,
have a
that's
PC?
to. Yeah.
no, but it's great, man. I mean, there was a lot of like when the two twins end up betraying them. That I did not see coming. And then but see, Trevor and Sypha, they build. I think they had the not the easiest, but they had like they kept in as far as canon goes, those two are what stayed pretty much on the Castlevania story from the video games when they run into what's his name what's his name what was his name the old guy Saint Germain
Yeah.
Saint Germain. He's actually from Castlevania Curse of Darkness. And then what I really loved about this one is that they brought in the Infinite Corridor from the video game series, also from Curse of Darkness. And dude, and then the freaking the priory, the bishop and all this. I mean, the bishop man and the mayor and all this, bro. Everybody had skeletons in the closet, man. And it was such a great series, man. And Alucard. And what I liked about that one too is when Trevor was able to use both the Vampire Killer and the Morning Star Whip at the same time. So and then Sypha starts showing off her lightning power. So it's great, dude. It's great, man. There's like I said, that's a longer series. That one had 10 episodes or 8. I think it was 8 episodes. But it was good, man.
I try not to remember season 3.
Yeah, but now we'll go on to season 4, man. And this one I really wanted to talk about, man. All I gotta say is, holy shit, Death. As he started off as a vampire Barney, and then it also goes. But this one also focuses on Alucard too. But it also focuses on Trevor and Sypha. So, and then they introduce a lot of other vampires, and then the crazy girl that thinks her emperors or her what do you call it? Her rulers are still alive, but they're actually dead. And then they have the mirrors, and then we can't forget, Anubis, a battle between Carmilla and Isaac.
Yeah.
And I mean, we all know why you like Carmilla, bro. Not just because she's a bitch, not because she's a cunt and a half, but it's like
she's a grade A bitch, boy. She is, no doubt about it.
Like it, and then I didn't care much. I mean, I didn't mind, but I didn't care much about her other sisters. I didn't really care much about them. I just know that Hector was banging the smaller vampire, and then they show Isaac learning more about the powers of the mirror and all that stuff. And yeah, dude, Isaac's arc it was kind of like redemption for him also. And
yeah.
But yeah, dude, it's such a great series, man. It's such a great series.
I thought season 4 was a step up from season 3, but season 3 left such a bad taste in my mouth. It was still hard for me to get into it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, like season 4, it went out with a bang, dude. Where they all fought. They fought. Well, not all. It was actually fighting death. When they showed death, dude, it was like, holy shit, because I wasn't expecting that. But then I kind of thought, like, okay, who are they going to use? And they can't use Dracula, they can't use Carmilla, so who are they going to use? And I don't know why I didn't think about it, but they ended up using Death, the Grim Reaper. So,
well, do you think that Do you think that they probably should have tried to, since they're kind of taking things out of order, do you think that it would have been better served to leave the Dracula death last and kind of just mix in Carmilla and everything, or do you think that would just fuck up the timeline too much?
What they should have done was just commit to taking elements of Curse of Darkness and more doing a loose adaptation of that, but you can tell they're just trying to speed run their way to Symphony of the Night, which, don't get me wrong, that's my favorite Castlevania game, but I don't want you to speed run everything to get to it, because I feel like it's like you don't respect the rest of the source material. You just want to get to what you know is the most popular.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, but I mean that makes sense too. That's true. But I mean, what I did like is that they went with the canon of the game, and that was Trevor, Sypha, and Alucard actually killed Dracula. So in the game, it was Grant, Alucard, Sypha, and Trevor who beat Dracula. So I'm glad that they went with that in the series. I did like that, but I you know what? Like I said, I'm not hard to please. And when they came up with Death, it made kind of sense because Death he absorbs death. You know, he can't do magic, so he absorbs death. You know, he eats death.
You have to one up it if you're going to, because Dracula was the guy. So like, if you're gonna go above that, you got to kind of go to the source, which would be death at that point.
And Death,
I mean, it's a weird inversion because in the books, Death is Dracula's minion.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, to me, it still worked. Did it still work for you, Anubis?
Yeah, it worked. I didn't have any problems with it. Like, but you know, again, this is one of those cases where, and I'll ask Matt too. Like, did you guys enjoy the Hobbit movies?
Yes.
I thought they were good.
They weren't. I think it should have been 2 movies instead of 3, but I got my problems. But overall, I would watch again.
Yeah, so I enjoyed them. So I get why some people didn't like it because the Hobbit, they added a lot of stuff that the Hobbit didn't have. But if you look at the long game, like between what they did with Lord of the Rings, which was amazing, and then the Hobbit, you have 3 movies. I really enjoyed them all. Like I can watch all of it. It'd take me all day to do it, but I'd watch them all right in a row. But sometimes people, when they even like Harry Potter or whatever, they say, well, the books are better, and usually they are because the books are more descriptive, they're longer, etc., etc. But for someone like me who spends a lot more time watching these through the camera lens rather than reading them, I can enjoy them. So in this case, you guys have a lot more history with the games than I do. So like, you know, Anthony's going to have his bit of nitpicks here and there, but for me, it's all just anime. I'm like looking at the characters. I like the ideas, the gore, everything else. So I enjoyed it, but like I can see why Anthony might have some issues here and there with it.
Entertainment. It's subjective.
Yeah.
Yep. No, it's what I'm saying. Like I don't, you know, I mean, I agree to disagree, you know, with some of you guys, you know, especially with Kojiro 851 and Amy vs. Predator. But it's like it's always like I mean, like I said, you guys are my homies. You guys are my extended family. So we're gonna disagree with stuff. But I mean, just because Anthony doesn't like something doesn't mean I'm gonna be. Oh no, hell no, no. Like it's everybody. Like I said, it's everybody has their view and their likes and their dislikes. And like me, I
will say this, Century, just for you, I changed my profile picture on Facebook just for you.
Oh, thank you. But man, it's what I'm saying. Like that's what I loved about the Castlevania series, man. That I was just blown away when they first mentioned it, and I first saw it in 2017. I saw it, and I was like, you know, I thought they were gonna go with the first Castlevania, but when they went with Trevor, I was like, no fucking way, because that's my favorite game. Like Castlevania, the Dracula's Curse is my favorite game.
I'll say this, now that like I know the like stuff I know about Berserk and looking at it, it feels like they went for a lot of the tone of Berserk for the series.
Yeah, but I mean, it's that's what I'm saying. But I was not expecting it to be rated R, and I wasn't expecting it to be that gory.
Yeah.
But I mean, I mean, if you're gonna kill demons and stuff like that, if you're gonna have crazy, psycho vampire girls that freaking, want to rule the world, but can't even rule their own mind. But it's like, what do you call it? But yeah, it was just a great series, man. And you could compare it to certain things like Berserk and all that stuff, and rightly so.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Gojira liked the first part, whatever he saw of Castlevania.
Oh yeah, I loved it. I love the first and second season. Dracula was amazing. That's why I continue to say to this day, Dracula did nothing wrong. Okay, he was living a nice, quiet life. He found a nice, beautiful woman who taught him the ways of man. He actually stopped being a monster. He actually decided to live his life as a man. He was traveling the countryside as a man, and it was,
The religious right. They did it. They fucked him over.
Yeah, he came home and he saw his wife, butchered by them because, they didn't want to let things go. And he gave them all a year. He's like, okay, I tried to be like you. I tried to let shit go. I tried to be a good guy, but no, you guys had to come in and shit on my lawn and screw up everything, and you killed the love of my life now.
Yeah.
So now I'm giving you all a year. Clear out, or I'm going to come back and I'm going to fuck you all up. And what happened a year later? He came back and he fucked them all up. And then we were off to the races from there.
Yeah.
So
and that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It was such like I said, it was tragedy. It was satire. It was action. It was gore. It was also love stories.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, the drama was just damn, dude. Like, and everybody, like, I mean, Dracula probably was, Dracula wasn't the best person until he met her, but he changed his ways and he was willing to do it for a human.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't even change her. He didn't even want to change. He had the chance to make her a vampire. He didn't want to.
Yep.
Because he fell in love. He fell in love with the beauty of humanity.
Well, he respected her choice too to be a human. That was the whole idea.
Of course, the $1 million question is: after she passed away of old age or disease, would he have started his descent back into darkness?
That's a good question.
Possibility.
Well, they had Alucard. He had Alucard at that time, didn't they?
Yes.
So if he would have had his son, and
it's still kind of a coin flip.
Yeah, but if she had died of natural causes and they had a nice, long, beautiful life and they raised Alucard together as a family, he would have been changed. I mean, he's eternal, so maybe in a few hundred years.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. Like, it wouldn't have been instant, but 500 years later, would he have just been sick of it all, bored to death, and like, you know what? I'm going to start killing humans just for sport.
Or he might have said, screw this, I know a better way. He might have actually tried to, take over the world as king of everything. He might have been, been like, God, I can't remember her name, his wife's name. But he might have felt like, oh, we had something great. I'm going to share this. Whether at least he would be like, hey, we had something great. I'm going to share this with everyone, whether they like it or not. And then he would have, forced it upon everyone. He would have actually perverted his love for his wife and his family into something. He might have done something like that, but flat out, like, then again, I don't know. It depends on what the writer would have wanted to do. But, I don't know. We will never know because they went nuts and killed his wife. So,
but I think that, when he and we'll just leave it at, we'll talk about this and then we'll wrap it up. But when he already realized when he went berserk and he almost killed Alucard, he wiped the floor with all three of them. Mm-hmm. Like, he wiped the floor with all three of them. Even Alucard was the closest that strongest. He wiped the floor with them. But then when he started realizing what he was doing, he finally realized that he wanted to die. Like he wanted to die, and he says, "Go ahead." Like he literally let Alucard stake him, and because he was already lost, he was already gone. Like he knew he was gone. He knew his mind was gone. He was anger, rage had took over. So he knew that I think he felt he wanted to die. You know, he said his time was done. He wanted to go be with Lisa, but you know, unfortunately, it sucks that they both ended up in hell. But I mean, you know, it's just that's what I'm saying, man. It was such a good story, and one of the best. It's probably the best video game to animate series that's ever been. I mean, there's some that are good, but I think that one was the best one because most video game adaptations don't do very well. Like from video games to either anime series or live action. But no, yeah, man. But it's like it's a great series, man. It's a great series. It's a great video game series. I loved it. I still love it to this day. Would we all like a new Castlevania game in the future? I would. But yeah, it's just I love this series, man. Like before Gojira got on, this series really was escapism for me, and it helped me get through a lot. And it helped me with my imagination. So, but yeah, man. Besides that, guys, any last thoughts, man, on the series, on the video game series for Castlevania?
Yeah, it's very cool, and I do hope they kind of continue, and I hope they kind of go back and give us some of these older games for PC, even if it's not like remastered or anything. Like just bring them back and allow people to play them. You know.
Yep. What about you, Roger?
There was this one game that came out for PSP. It was like a remake of Rondo of Blood.
Chronicles.
What's up?
It was Chronicles.
Oh, Chronicles, yeah, where you could actually, you know, save other characters, and you can actually, you know, play as different, you know, female characters in the game as well. I was always trying to find that, like, on PlayStation. Like, I was hoping they would, like, make that, and so I could play that. But, you know, that always looked fun. I watched a video on that. That always looked fun. But, yeah, it is a great...
Only choice is pretty much emulation.
It's more PC stuff.
Yeah, but at least that game, it's old enough that you could just buy a straight out of Walmart PC, and I doubt it'd struggle to play it.
Yeah, but Gojira still won't go PC.
Yeah. I'm a console peasant.
I agree. I am like you, Gojira. I am, and what do you call it? I'm a console
peasant.
Yes, there you go. Yeah. But what about you, Anthony?
That's the best piece of music in the entire franchise, Bloody Tears.
Yep.
As much as I have my mixed feelings about the series, and I know we're talking about the games, but just that part in season 2 when they made it to the castle and Bloody Tears started playing.
Yeah. That got me into it, man. When Bloody Tears was playing, yeah. No, but like the game, but this is one of the longest standing video game series of all time, and you know, I loved it. I enjoyed it. I hope they make more. You know, we can educate. You know, down the line we can educate Anubis a little bit more on, you know, the old school stuff and non-PC. You know, maybe some console gaming.
Yeah.
You know, and
yeah.
You don't have to worry about, you know, you getting another stick of RAM. You don't have to worry about updating your graphics card or making sure that your audio and you're running fraps in the background, you know, or you have to make sure you have the right headset. You know, you have to make sure you have enough memory. You have to make sure, you know, you have to like buffering or the thing, and all right, I'm done.
And then there's
updating your mouse. Updating your mouse.
Yeah, your mouse. Yeah, your mouse. Click your mouse. You gotta make sure the ball is clean. in the thing, you know.
And
They used to use balls. I
like how you have like
Mouse-
all this list of PC stuff, but then when it comes to the handheld, you just gotta worry about the batteries.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Matt's in the middle of a boss fight, and he's like, "No, I lost Barry. No, I'm gonna die. Shit."
No, at least with that, when the controller cuts out, it freezes the game.
Yeah. That's why when I got my PlayStation 5, it came with 2 controllers.
Ah.
My Xbox, I have rechargeable battery, so I don't need a second controller. Just pop the battery out the switch.
Yeah, don't worry.
But you know what though?
Well,
they do make an adapter for my controller for the Xbox One for my computer.
Ooh, he's got an adapter, folks. He's got
the adapter.
Yay me! Yay me!
The adapter is called a regular
PC wins.
He's gonna be all PC no matter how much we dog on him, man. No matter how much we dog on him, he's gonna be PC.
PC has games that I want, and I'm salty. There is a game on PC I really want, but I can't get because they don't put it on console peasants.
Which game is
it? Which one is that?
Blood.
Blood. Yeah, I've heard that's good.
It's really good. It's
the only way I can play the original Space Marine is on my PC, but good thing it's just USB card, and I don't have to worry about getting USB cord, and I don't have to worry about getting crippling arthritis from keyboard and mouse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was StarCraft. The original or StarCraft 2. StarCraft 2 is so good.
Yeah, but like we'll leave it at that. We'll call it we'll wrap it up, guys. But we'll talk more. Don't go yet, but we'll talk a little bit more after about the gaming and stuff like that. But everybody who was watching, everybody who showed up, Kaiju Goodness, Gojira51, Omni Blast, thank you all for watching. Jedi, Walter Ross, thank you guys
who watches after the fact.
Exactly, everybody who will get the replay value, who will watch it. Thank you all.
Currently, Goji is like taking crowdfunding for a new PC, so throw him some money.
Yes. So, and I'll make sure, I'll make sure to throw in a mouse pad just for kicks.
Thank you. I'm so my wrist on the table.
I don't know how long you've been out of the game, but the mouses are laser now. You don't have to clean the ball anymore.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
We've updated since then, buddy. We've updated.
They shoot lasers now? We're in the future, folks. We're in the future.
Like I said, I'm a console peasant. What can I say? I'm a console peasant. So, hey, you guys got anything going? Anubis, anything going for the channel?
No. Next week though, on Ghouls of Midnight, Tony and I are reviewing. Trying to remember, it's Devil's Artist, I think, which is kind of a remake of A Bucket of Blood. But I haven't really set up anything yet because, like I said, we're working on getting the house done for moving soon. But outside of that, I think tonight Samurai is releasing our review of Dr. Giggles on his channel. So if you want to check that out, it was pretty much a blast talking about that movie. But outside of that, not a whole lot going on.
Cool. Gojira.
What do I got going? I finally got this shipping invoice that my Blu-ray of Godzilla -1 is finally coming from the Godzilla store that has Godzilla minus color and the digital. It's like this big fancy box set of it that it's finally shipping. So yay, I'm happy about that.
It's in the mail already.
Nice.
Jake did, yeah.
I got a shipping invoice from Spiral Studios that my Godzilla Evolved figure is ready to ship, but they said it's not going to be ready to ship for another 30 to 45 days, so it might not be here till like late November, early Christmas, so yay! I pre-bought the X Plus Godzilla -1 30-centimeter standard. It looks awesome, but it was the second batch, so they said it's supposed to be ready for the third quarter of 2024. Now, that could mean anything. That could mean that it's ready now, or it's going to be ready sometime at the end of September, early October. I don't know. So I'm waiting on that as well. Other than that, I have no idea what's going on. So yeah.
Anthony.
Well, since Matt's bringing up shipping, I got the shipping invoice. My Shout Factory Collector's Edition Blu-ray of Day of the Dead shipped.
Ooh, nice.
As for my channel, if you look on the community section, I have a poll. I want to do at least once a month a live stream segment where it's just random movie talk. So just vote on the name. I have a name I'm rooting for, but I thought it would be fun to include the community in on it. So whatever they choose, I'll go with. Other than that, I'm gearing up for Montober, and probably mid to late September, I might start it early and do a live stream of the game until dawn.
Oh, nice.
Nice. Well, there you have it. Everybody who was watching, subscribe to my boys, Anthony Jordan, Movies and More, Gojira, 851, Matt, with his figure reviews. I can't wait for that Spiral Studio review to come out, especially. And DJ Anubis, the Metal Messiah for the Metal Tavern. Thank you all guys for watching our Castlevania Retrospective #1. We will have more retrospectives down the line. I gotta get my ass to the freaking appointments and everything. So I might just have Pitch Black coming in. We might do just Pitch Black, and then after that, I'm gonna take a little break for winter and everything. But yeah, guys, thank you all for watching. We are the Sci-Fi Society. Don't go anywhere, guys. We always keep it raw. We always keep it real. So we are out. Don't go anywhere.
Stay tuned.
Ooh, the Sci-Fi Society clone.
We are the Sci-Fi Society.
DJ Anubis. Here with the Meltdown Radio podcast with my special guest, Sci-Fi Century, our fearless leader and founder of the Sci-Fi Society.
That whole story, like, that's pay-per-view, guys. Like, you don't get a lot of that stuff.
All right, no, one day.